And a big hello for my beloved student. I hope you all are fine and in good health. So what I'll be teaching you today is from 6th English, and the name of the chapter is Granny Fabulous Kitchen. And let me clear you that this chapter is in your Unit 3 syllabus. Okay, so let me clear you one thing, that I'm going to make it 2 videos from the same chapter. And in first video, I'm going to make you understand the vocabulary, and I'm going to make you understand the whole chapter. And in second video, we'll be doing a grammar portion, especially focus on the later. And in that later section, I'm going to teach you the format of later writing. Okay, so I'll start the chapter. Below is given a list of various food. Choose the one you like the most, and with a partner discuss what is special about the food you like. Whosoever you are watching this video, you have to talk with them, him or her, and you have to discuss about your favorite food and ask them why that food is very favorite. What do you like most from that particular food? Okay, for example, some of the food here is given: idli dosa, biryani, pulao, fried rice, kebab, plain rice, gushtaba, chicken and yakni. Okay, these are the special mutton-based preparation popular in Kashmir. You might heard about Kashmir, that that place is very famous in mutton-based preparation food. Okay, before we go to the chapter, I would like to explain the vocabulary from the same chapter, Granny Fabulous Kitchen. Okay, so what is the fudge? Fudge is a sweet dish which is made up of milk and sugar. Okay, veranda it's a place outside our house with a roof where we can sit. Slender, it's a thin. Okay, gracefully thin. Wobbly is for example, there is a tree. Okay, this is a tree, and this is a stem. The stem which is not hard, okay, which can move from side to side, that is the wobbly. Okay, and the pickle, it's achar. Nasturtium is a kind of flowers. Some of the people, they make pickle from the nasturtium. Okay, and jackfruit is a vegetable, kathal. Pioneer is a person who introduces anything for the first time, and after that it is continually using it. That is the pioneer. Okay, and pension is the salary, 50% of salary if any employees get after the retirement. That is the pension, and pension is possible only for the government employees. Okay, and good humor in, we can say it acha khasa hasi mazak. It's kind of, okay. And turkey is a large bird which Britain, the people of British used to keep at their home, and especially that bird is used at the time of Christmas, so that they can use the flesh of that bird. Okay, that is the turkey. And stuffed chilies. Stuff means fill up. Okay, fill up with the chilies. Dormitory, it's a big room where several person or people can sleep together. It's a kind of hostel. Okay, and headmistress. You tell me, who is the head of your school? Is it headmaster or headmistress? So that means male headmaster, and female head, that's a headmistress. Okay, and demented is, you can say, mad or crazy. And eccentric means unusual manner, okay, which is not normal, beyond the normal, okay. And the last one is mint chutney. Mint is, pudina, and the chutney, we know it, which we are making to add to our food, okay. So this is how the vocabulary goes on, and now I'll start the chapter. When Granny met vanilla and chocolate fudge, she gave me some to take to Mohan, the gardener's son. Now there is a Granny. Granny means grandmother. Okay, she is very famous in making chocolate fudge. She made vanilla. Okay, so whenever she made vanilla or chocolate sweet dish, she every time give that to the Ruskin bond, okay, and so that Ruskin bond can give that fudge to the gardener's son. Now, who is gardener? Gardener is the person who look after the garden. That is gardener. It was no use taking him roast duck or curry chicken because in his house no one ate meat. Now, there is no one in Mohan's house, okay, who are eating meat, who are eating non-veg, okay. So, it is of no use to take any chicken, mutton to them because there is no use, because no one is eating a meat. But Mohan liked sweets, gulab jamun, rasgulla, jalebis, which were made with lots of milk and lots of sugar, as well as the granny's homemade English sweets. So that means Mohan liked the dishes which are made up of sweets. Okay, for example, jalebi, rasgulla. Okay, this kind of sugar in which the meal added sugar. That kind of meal is liked by the Mohan. Okay. We would climb into the branch of jackfruit tree and eat the fudge of peppermint or sticky toffee. We couldn't eat the jackfruit except when it was cooked as a vegetable and made into pickle. But the tree itself was wonderful for climbing. And some wonderful creature lived in it, squirrel and fruit bat and pair of green parrot. The squirrel were friendly and soon got into the habit of eating from our hands. They too were fond of Granny's chocolate fudge. One young squirrel would even explore my pocket to see if I was keeping anything from him. Now, like Mohan and Ruskin, both of them, they used to climb the branches of the jackfruit, that is kathal ka ped, and ate the fudge of peppermint and sticky toffee. Sticky toffee means toffee which is sticked on with our teeth. That is the sticky toffee. We couldn't eat the jackfruit. Jackfruit we cannot eat until it is boiled or cooked. Okay, so when it was cooked as a vegetable, or it can also made as a pickle. But the tree itself was wonderful for climbing. But the tree of jackfruit, it was wonderful for the climbing, to play. And some wonderful creature lived in it. And some wonderful animals are living on that tree. For example, squirrel, gilhari, and fruit bat and pair of green parrot. One pair of parrot are also living with a squirrel, okay, on that tree. The squirrel were friendly. The squirrel, soon they became very friendly with the Mohan and all. And they too were fond of Granny's chocolate fudge. So, soon the squirrel also became, the fond of the chocolate fudge. Once, young squirrel would even explore my pocket to see if I was keeping anything from him. And one time, squirrel also, checked the Mohan's pocket to see if there is anything to eat. So that much friendly they became. Mohan and I could climb almost any tree in the garden, and if Granny was looking for us, she had called from the front veranda, and then from the pantry at the side of the house, and finally from her bathroom window on the other side of the house. And sometimes when they are playing outside, Granny used to call them. Sometimes Granny is calling from the veranda, and sometimes Granny is calling from the pantry. Pantry is a room where you can keep the food. That means kitchen. You can say kitchen to the pantry. Okay. Sometimes Granny is calling from the kitchen side. And there were trees on all sides, and it was impossible to tell which one we were in, and until we answer her call, sometimes Crazy would give us away by barking beneath our tree. So Mohan and Ruskin, they climbed on the tree, and there is not only one tree, there are so many trees in the garden. So when Granny was calling them, that means Granny is to see them. It's not possible to find them at one time. It's impossible to find at one time. Okay, so there is a dog who is known as the Crazy, and Crazy used to come below the tree, and when the Crazy start barking at them, and the aunt will come to know that they are on this tree. Okay, and when there was a fruit to be picked, Mohan did not pick him. And at the time of picking, fruit picking time, Mohan don't like to picking it. The mangoes and lychees came into season during the summer. And we all know that in only summer we get the mangoes and lychees. Okay, lychee is another fruit. When I was away at boarding school, so I couldn't help with the fruit gathering. So Ruskin is, he's at the boarding school. So it's not possible to be at home all the season. Okay, and the papaya was in season during winter. And papaya fruit we get only in the winter season. But you don't climb on the papaya tree. They are too slender and wobbly. You knock the papaya down with a long pole and catch them before they hit the earth. Okay. Now to take papaya from the papaya tree, that is not possible. Okay. So what they are doing is how they are collecting the papaya from the papaya tree is to take a long stick. Long pole means long stick, and catch them and hit that papaya, and before they hit the earth, before the papaya fall into the ground, they are catching it. They used to catch it. Okay. Mohan also helped Granny with the pickling. She was justly famous for her pickles. Green mangoes pickled in oil were always popular, so was her not lime pickle. And she was equally good in picking turnip, carrot, cauliflower, chilies and other fruits and vegetables. So their Granny is very famous in making pickles. Okay, from the variety of vegetables, Granny is doing preparing pickles. Okay, she could pickle almost anything. From the nasturtium seeds to jackfruit. That means nasturtium is a kind of flowers. Okay, from that stem of the flowers, nasturtium seeds, to the jackfruit. Okay, jackfruit is a plant that we mostly eat. Okay, and from the nasturtium plant to the jackfruit, that Granny is very much famous to make the pickle. So she could pickle almost anything from nasturtium seeds to jackfruit. Uncle Ken did not care for the pickles, so I was always urging Granny to make more of them. So Grandma is very much famous. She can make pickle from the nasturtium plant, flowers, to the jackfruit plant. She can make any kind of pickle. Okay, and the Ruskin was not care. Uncle Ken did not care for the pickle. Okay, my own preference was sweet chutney and sauce, but I ate pickles too, even the very hot ones. Now my own preference means Ruskin Bond. Okay, the Ruskin Bond is telling us that his preference, was a sweet chutney. Sweet chutney was liked by the Ruskin, and along with the sauce. He ate pickles too, even the very hot ones. Here the hot ones in this chapter, that means very spicy. Okay. One winter when Granny's funds were low, Mohan and I went from house to house selling pickle for her. And in one winter, Granny was, having a shortage of money. So Mohan and Ruskin, they made a plan to take all the pickles and start selling, to go from door to door. Okay, to sell the pickles. In spite of all the people and pets she fed, Granny wasn't rich. Granny was feeding to the pets, and Granny was feeding the people also, but still Granny was not a rich. The house had come to her from her grandfather, and the house in which Granny was living, that house was, she got that house from her husband. Okay, and the mango crop brought in a fair almost every year, and a mango crop, they are doing cultivation from the mango, so from mango crop they are getting a little amount of money every year. And there were a small pension from the railway, and small pension is she was also getting a pension from the railway. Grandfather had been one of the pioneers who had helped bring the railway line to Dehra at the turn of their century. But there were no other income. And now that I come to think of it, all this wonderful meal consisted of only one course. followed by a sweet dish. It was a granny's cooking that turned a modest meal into the feast. So that means in this paragraph, that granny wasn't rich, and granny was getting a little pension, okay, from the husband, because once husband was a pioneer, a pioneer on the railway track, and she was getting a little pension, okay, and whatever the granny, sometimes a small simple food can be transformed into a feast, the meal which granny was cooking, that simple meal is converted into a feast, a big party. That much tasty the aunt that granny was preparing. I wasn't ashamed to sell pickles for granny. I wasn't ashamed means Ruskin was not feeling shamed of sale pickles for granny. It was a great fun, though this kind of doing work is a fun for Ruskin. Mohan and I armed ourselves with a basket filled with pickle bottles, then set off to cover houses in our areas. In that area there are so many houses. They used to fill the basket and go with Mohan door to door, okay, and they like that work very much, okay. Major Clark across the road was first customer. Customer means to whom we are selling it. That person is known as the customer. For example, when you go to the shop to buy something, that time you are a customer, right? So Major Clark across the road means to the opposite, where they are living. To the opposite side, the Major Clark was the first customer. He had red hair, he is having a bright blue eyes, and he was having a always good humor, joke kind of person, always a comedian, he was always do like a joke with us, with them. And what have you got there, Rusty? He asked. Now, Major Clark was asking that, what you have got it? Pickles, sir. Pickles, have you been making them? No, sir, they are my grandmother's. We are selling them so we can buy a turkey for Christmas. So, Major Clark and Ruskin Bond, both of them, they are having a conversation that, what are you doing? What are you getting? Then he said, it's a pickle, sir. Oh, you are making the pickles? Okay, Major Clark asked, and he said, no, sir, that's my grandmother who used to make pickles. We are just selling it so that we can buy a turkey. Turkey is, that I told you on Christmas, a large bird. They are keeping it, and at the time of Christmas, they used to eat the flesh of that large bird. Okay, so we can buy a turkey for Christmas, Ruskin said. Mrs. Bond, pickle, yeah? Well, I'm glad mine is the first house on your way, because I'm sure that basket will soon be empty. There's no one who can make a pickle like your grandmother, son. I have said it before, and I will say it again. She's God-gifted to a world, and that's terribly short of good cook. My wife's gone shopping, so I can talk quite freely, you see. Okay, now Mrs. Bond pickle, yeah. Okay, he looks very, happy. And then he said, I'm happy that my house is on the first, okay, on your way. Because I'm sure the basket will soon be empty. If my house is at the last, then I won't be able to get pickle, it will soon be empty. So there is no one who can make pickle like your grandmother. Son, your grandmother is really very, very famous. She is a God gift to us. She can make that much delicious pickle. She is making it. And she is really a God gifted. Now Major Clark and Ruskin was talking. And Major Clark said, my wife's gone shopping. My wife, she went to the market for shopping, so I can talk quite freely. Now I'm free, I can talk very freely. Okay, I have some time so that I can talk freely. You see, what have you got this time? Stuffed chili? Okay, now this time which pickle you have brought it? Okay, she asked. And then, Major Clark asked. And stuffed chilies? I trust she knows they are my favorite. And I shall be deeply wounded if there are no stuffed chili in that basket. I'll be very sad if there is no red stuffed chili. Okay, Major Clark was fond of stuffed chilies. Okay, now the next page, 30. And there were in fact 3 bottles of stuffed red chilies in the basket, and Major Clark took all of them. Okay, there are 3 bottles in that basket of red chilies, which Major Clark really liked it, and they took all the 3 of them. Okay, and our next call was at the Miss Kellner house. Miss Kellner couldn't eat hot food, so it was no use offering her pickles. But she bought a bottle of preserved ginger, and she gave me a little prayer book. Whenever I went to see her, she gave me a prayer book, and it was always the same. You know, like the second customer is the Miss Kellner's. Okay, Miss Kellner's, she was not eating that much spicy food, so they thought it is no use of to ask her. But still, she kept one preserved ginger pickle. Okay, and whenever they went to Miss Kellner's house for a to sell the pickle, she always gave some small prayer book so that they can recite a prayer. Okay, and always do the same. Whenever they go to Kellner's house, always do the same. She gave a prayer book. Okay. Farther down the road, Dr. Dept, who was in charge of the hospital, bought several bottles of lime pickle, saying it was good for his liver. And Mr. Hurry, who owned a garage at the end of the road and sold all the latest cars, bought 2 bottles of pickled onions and begged us to bring him another 2 the following month. Okay, now there is the next door is the Dr. Dept. Okay, he took few bottles and then he told them that lime pickles, it's very good for the liver. I'll take several bottles. So Dr. Dept took the several bottle from them. Okay, and the next door is the Mr. Hurry, who is owned having a garage, and he already sold all the latest cars. He took 2 bottles of pickles of onions. Okay, and begged them, and also they request them to prepare 2 bottles same on the coming month, next month, following month. Okay, by the time we got home, the basket would usually be empty, and Granny's richer by 20 or 30 rupees, enough in those days for turkey. You tell me, 20 rupees, 30 rupees is sufficient for you this day? No, but on that day, Ruskin Bond, during his story time, that time, 10, 20 rupees, that was enough money. So during that trade, like Mohan and Ruskin Bond, they sell the pickles, they have got the rupees of 20, 30, okay, and they thought that they got the enough money. Okay, and Uncle Ken stayed for the Christmas and ate most of the turkey. Now they spent Christmas together, and Uncle Ken, there was an uncle who is known as the Uncle Ken, and he stayed there for the Christmas and ate lots of turkey. It's a high time you found a job, said Granny to Uncle Ken one day. There is no job in Dera, complained Uncle Ken. Now Uncle Ken and Granny is talking to each other, and Granny Granny asked Uncle Ken, why don't you find a job? And then Uncle Ken, told them that there is no job in Dera. Okay, how can you tell? You have never looked for one. Okay, and anyway, you don't have to stay here forever. Your sister Emily is a headmistress of a school in Lucknow. You could go to her. She said before that she was ready to put you in charge of the dormitory. Your sister Emily is a headmistress in Lucknow. You should go there. That Granny told Uncle Ken. Bah, said Uncle Ken. Honestly, Aunt May, you don't expect me to look after a dormitory seething with a 40 or 50 demented small boys. So, Granny was telling them to go to the dormitory, to go to his sister Emily. And Uncle Ken was, he got angry by saying, with those small demented small boys, I don't want to go to look after that dormitory. What's demented, I ask. Shut up, said Uncle Ken. It means crazy, said Granny. What's demented? Now he's asking, what is demented? I ask. Shut up. He said, keep your mouth shut. said Uncle Cain. It means crazy, said Granny. Granny was answering, explaining that that means crazy. Demented means crazy. So many words means crazy, I complained. Ruskin was, complaining that there are so many words which means the same, crazy. Why don't we just say crazy? We have a crazy dog, and now Uncle Cain's crazy too. Our dog is also known as the crazy, and Uncle Cain is also a crazy. Okay, Uncle Cain clipped me over my ears, She hold the ears like this. And Granny said, your uncle is not crazy. Don't be so disrespectful. He's just a lazy. He's just pinching his ear by, informing that not to disrespect to your uncle. He's just a lazy. Okay? And eccentric, I said. I heard he was eccentric. Eccentric means unusual manner. Who said I was eccentric? Now Uncle Cain, he started becoming very angry, And then he said, who said I was eccentric? Demanded Uncle Cain. Now the last page, 31. Miss Lily, I lied. The Ruskin was, now he started lying, Miss Leslie. I knew Uncle Cain was fond of Miss Leslie, who ran a beauty parlor in Dera's smart shopping center. And there was a Miss Lily, lady. Once Uncle Cain, he used to follow this Miss Lily, okay? So he just lied. And they said, I don't believe you, said Uncle Cain. Anyway, when did you see Miss Leslie? Now Uncle Cain becoming, calm after that. After hearing the Miss Leslie name, he became calm. And then he started, putting question like, when did you see the last time, Miss Leslie? We sold her some mint chutney last week. Then, Ruskin was telling them, sold her some mint chutney last week, means pichle hafte. I told her you like mint chutney. And also I told her that you like mint chutney. But she said, now remember, now what's the answer? But she said she would bought it for the Mr. Horton who is taking her to the picture tomorrow. And there is one more character, that is the Mr. Horton. Okay? But Leslie told them there is a Mr. Horton, okay, who is taking her to the picture tomorrow. For him, I am buying a chutney, mint chutney. So this is the chapter of Granny's Fabulous Kitchen. I hope you understand. And if you have any questions, any query relating to this chapter, please contact me on my number. It's on your screen. Julie, thank you.